If you know, you know. Now, Freddie Roach stated that he told Shawn Porter to his face that Errol Spence will knock you out. So when I made my previous video claiming that Freddy Roach stated Crawford and Errol Spence are pound for pound number 1 and 2, not Lomachenko, and people trying to say that Freddy Roach is not being honest, well, remember this. Freddy Roach is so honest. He told Shawn Porter to his face, Errol Spence knocking you out. If he wasn't so honest, he wouldn't have told him that. He would have just told him a lie. Oh, it's going to be a good fight. Not telling him how he really felt. Now, that being said, we know Freddy Roach is not lying about anything, because obviously when Pacquiao claimed he beat Mayweather, Freddy Roach stated in the public, hey, I thought Pacquiao lost. Floyd Mayweather schooled him. And that's why Manny Pacquiao ended up leaving him. Now, that being said, I know Shawn Porter must have really been pissed when he heard that. Obviously, you have to respect everybody's opinion. You know, you can't get mad because a certain person is picking a certain fighter to win, especially against you. This is the sport of boxing, and you have to respect that. And you got to keep in mind, people are picking Errol Spence. However, he is the favorite. So Shawn Porter can't get mad at Freddy Roach for that. Now, that being said, obviously Shawn Porter, he knows he's such an underdog in this fight. However, he's not as much of an underdog as Buster Douglas, but Errol Spence is not Mike Tyson in a way that Errol Spence is really preparing for this fight, unlike Mike Tyson, how he prepared for Douglas. So regardless of how Shawn Porter looks at it, Errol Spence is just as hungry as Shawn Porter. Errol Spence told Shawn Porter to his face, I got more dog than you. That speaks value. You know why? Keith Thurman, when he had a face-to-face with Shawn Porter, he didn't tell him these things. He told him he's a better fighter, but he told Shawn Porter, your work rate is better than mine. So Keith Thurman, obviously, he was telling Shawn Porter his advantages. And Shawn Porter used that to try to win the fight, and that's why that fight was so close. However, Errol Spence, on the other hand, he telling Shawn Porter to his face, whatever you think you have, I could match you, and I could beat you in that field. If you feel like you have better talent in certain areas, I will match you and beat you there. Inside fighting, outside fighting, mid-range fighting. He telling them whatever he could do better, really. So that's the difference between a Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. And that's the difference between a fighter that's pound for pound number 1 potential and a fighter that's just there to hold his belt till Errol Spence comes snatch off him. And I'm referring to Keith Thurman because obviously Keith Thurman always claimed that I'm fine with being number 2. I'm fine with being second best. When I turned pro, I was fine with that. So he always had that mindset. Best believe Errol Spence did not have that mindset. So regardless of any of that, Shawn Porter knows he's in a dogfight. Shawn Porter knows he has to go through static in order to have any success. So for Shawn Porter, the best way, he has to make it a dogfight, ugly fight, dirty fight in order to win. However, the bad news is Errol Spence could get dirty too. He already told him, whatever you do, especially with dirty tactics, I will match you. Now, that being said, Shawn Porter is very motivated. I believe he trained harder than ever. However, he might be thinking about Errol Spence a little too much. But regardless of any of that, Shawn Porter been here and done that. So he will be prepared. He will bring the best Shawn Porter that night. I just don't think it's enough. But regardless of that, I believe it's going to be the fight of the year. And after this fight, Errol Spence will be one of the best pound-for-pound fighters, period. Top 2, top 3. And on top of that, one of the biggest stars in the sport of boxing. Obviously, he sold 400 versus Mikey Garcia. Even though Kenny Porter claimed he will only sell 75,000. He said against Mikey, man, they're not going to be able to do 100K. And they end up doing 400K. Then they try to take credit away from Errol Spence by saying, oh, it was Mikey Garcia fans. Even though they fought in Texas, where Errol Spence is from, where he got the support of the Cowboys. So, that being said, We'll see how many pay-per-view Errol Spence will sell against Shawn Porter, because we all know Shawn Porter is not a superstar. He's not that huge of a draw. Errol Spence told him you can't even sell your own family dinner. So we know whatever pay-per-view they sell is thanks to Errol Spence. Because Mikey Garcia first time being on pay-per-view is against Errol Spence. Shawn Porter first time on pay-per-view is thanks to Errol Spence. Now look at Shawn Porter against Keith Thurman, against Danny Garcia. If they are bigger stars, how come those fights weren't on pay-per-view? So that's exactly my point. Like I always say, subscribe below. If you're trying to get smart about a minute, if you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't listen to these casual fans. Follow Lunatoon Boxing for the funniest boxing memes. Follow me at Hockey TV. Click on the notification bell to get notified every time we go live and to be continued on the next episode of Hockey TV. Peace, and we out.